Hello. Welcome everyone to JLABTV. I am JLAB and this is Football Manager 2022, the Youth Academy Challenge with Beira-Mar. We are going to be going over the transfers today that we have either sold or released because it makes sense to do so. We're also taking on Cadiz in the Allianz Cup first phase match. We should be aiming for the second phase, but if we don't, then it's probably a disappointing game regardless. We're also going to go over the season preview and see where we predicted the finish after we saw Victor Ventura to Aston Villa for 32 million last time out. But either way, let's go over the transfers first and foremost. So first thing first, we're going to go over the players we've released, and there's a few names you will recognise. Daniel Akende being the first of those players. He hasn't got a new club yet. He didn't like big matches. He wasn't going to be good enough for the team in the long run, I think. And honestly, given he's only a 4th tier player, that could be a 3rd tier player, it makes sense to get rid of him. He was never going to be good enough for us in the long run, and we needed to move him on, unfortunately, for her. And we needed to move him on, unfortunately, for him. Nuno says we moved on because he was rubbish, and no other reason than that, he was pretty poor. Will Pope we've also released. Now, this guy might struggle to find a club after we let him go, but he is a 2-star player in our books. But if we look at the report, he's only considered a 4th tier player, which, again, makes sense to get rid of him. He was never going to get in the first team anymore, and it's one of those things that we look at and think, how did he survive for so long? We also got rid of Hugo because Hugo is also pretty poor, and I'm amazed he was even with us for so long. But he's got a club now, so at least he's got that going for him. The same can be said for Gabriel Alves. I just didn't see a future with him, and he wasn't improving, and quite frankly, made no sense to keep him along. We also got rid of Carlos Silva. He has got a new club in Oriental Lisboa, and probably never going to play for me again. Probably never going to reach the top 2 tiers, but hey, if he somehow gets the top 2 tiers, then he's done very well to get back to those heights. We also got rid of Ricardo Frede. He is now with Petros Rubias, and I'd be amazed if he can do anything with his career. He was just not good enough for me, really. Now, the players that we have sold, either for a free transfer or permanent, are the following. Julian, we sold for 20,000. Didn't feel like a player we needed to keep around, and honestly, Angel Alvarez and Loreo kind of made this guy redundant in his role. He wasn't improving, he wasn't getting much better, and the Venezuelan international is no longer at the club. I don't think it makes sense. Muni Fortes also left because of the players at the club now, and he's also a right back, but again, wasn't improving, wasn't getting much better. It made sense to push him out the door and to move him on, especially with the young talent come through and being as good as they are. Now, this is a departure I didn't want to be making, but Rafael Suno was refusing to sign a new contract. I thought, you know what, we'll get rid of him. We only sold him for 8,000, but if you look at the long-term prospects of the team, he's kind of not needed. Now, admittedly, he probably could have been the first team for this year still, but quite frankly, we just did not get on, and we made certain to get rid of him. So, again, one of those things, probably could have kept in, but we just disliked each other so much that it made no sense to keep him around. We also have a few loan dealings out there as well, but really that's not the important part here. We didn't need to worry about that sort of thing. Clauses, Victor Ventura, this is the thing I'm looking at here. We were going to get another 7.73 million for the next 2 seasons for Victor Ventura's deal. He's also worth 87 to 103 million now, so being paid 70 grand a week. I think Victor Ventura, if he gets moved on, will give us a lot of money, especially when we are going to be getting 40% of the profit made from the next transfer going forward. He's going to get us a lot of money if he gets sold, he really is. So now we are looking at the season preview, and there's a few things we need to talk about, and it's very, very important for me. We are predictably bottom of the table again. Yes, Ventura's departure was that dramatic that it dropped us down from, 14th at one point to 16th to 18th place, and also, the teams that are coming back up are pretty good. So, again, it made sense. And I look at the season now and I think, okay, we could do a bit more of work, really. The league champions, Braga, are predicted to be in 4th place. Porto down in 5th, which I think, honestly, might be considered a bit of a shock to see them doing so badly. Martin and Estoril is expected to be above us. Martin actually expected to be 13th place. So, I think this might be the most difficult season yet, because it'll be the first season we've not had Ventura in the team, but we do have some players that came back from their loan spells that can be in the team this year. And there's a certain Ukrainian that comes to mind. So I plan on using Andrei Danilin as the inverted winger at the club. Now, admittedly, he's very good with both feet, can play as midfielder, both further back as well if we needed him to be, as well as a midfielder and an attacking midfielder. So This guy is very versatile. He's 18 years of age. Is he expected to be amazing? No, but he's considered a second tier player who could be considered a top flight player. So really, I look at this guy, I think he's got potential to be really, really good for us. And it makes sense to use him. He's considered our best player on the right wing. So again, makes sense to use him. Even if he hasn't got the potential to be the best player, we're going to use him. We're going to make sure he does a good enough job. And he has scored for us in the league before. He was playing for Cardiff, ironically enough, last year in the second tier. Got 2 goals and 9 assists. So he can definitely go and do good things in the second tier. I'm now going to give him a chance in the top tier to prove that what he did was not a one-off thing. I like to think I'm going to be proven right by this decision and that he'll be very good for me. If he isn't, then we know what the problem is. That being said, we're going to take on Cardiff today and hope we can win. Whether or not we can do so remains to be seen. I like to think we can because we are supposed to be the better team in this game, the comfortable favourites, quite frankly, according to the media. And this is going to be one of those seasons where things can go wrong or go right. Also, one more thing. Mariah had an offer from Hanover. I turned it down and he got very upset about it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting him to be so upset about it that he's now asking to leave. So 2 years left in his contract. I'm waiting for it to blow over, quite frankly, so I can offer him a new contract, because really, he's only a second tier player who could be a top flight player in the future, but I don't really want to lose him. So he's too important for me to give up, because I don't think we've really got many other strikers that can really take his place right now in the position he does and the role he plays. So he's kind of important to keep around. And given how versatile he is and how many positions he can play, we need him around still, and I cannot afford to lose him. It'll be a shame if he was to try and push his way out the door and try and leave the end of his contract in 2 years' time. Still, the lineup is going to be this. We have Tribulo in goal. He's the best player in the team now, and yeah, he's considered our key player and hot prospect at the same time. It's a little concerning, but it is what it is. You can't really do much about it. We do actually have Angel Alvarez starting today because Jafino got injured. He's also considered a 2-star player now in the position, so I'm going to say this so you guys can hear, but not Jafino. I think this guy is Jafino's long-term replacement. I'm just going to say that here now. I don't think Jafino's going to be the first team much longer because Alvarez is going to take his spot. It's between you and me, okay? Not going to say it too loudly. We're also starting Alexandre Loreo today because fitness concerns between the players that's on the first team and because of Esteval also being injured. But Loreo, I also think could be Lasca's long-term replacement, which is also very useful. The same could be said about Petrocinio and Esteval. I think Petrocinio will be the long-term replacement for Esteval. So the 2 centre-backs starting today, I think will be our long-term partnership at the back, which is very good. We also got Amadou starting as left-back. He's now considered to be a 3-star player, and at the age of 17, could be very good. I'm just hoping that the African Cup of Nations does not take Amadou away from me, because I'll be very much needing him during this season. Luis Santos starts as a Mazzala today because injuries and just general problems. Yeah, Luis Santos starting as Mazzala is not ideal, but it is what it is. Wibiero does start as a deep line playmaker. He does still want to leave, and he's got 3 years left in his deal, so I'm going to keep him around for at least another 2 years. At the worst of time, at the best, I think. If all things come to a head and we lose him for 26 million now, then we might be struggling in midfield. But honestly, I don't think it's the end of the world. Andre Danaland will start as the right winger, the inverted winger. Is he amazing at the role? Probably not, but it's better than what we had already, and it's better than anyone else, so it says a lot really, doesn't it? He's also wanted by a few teams on loan. As a third tier side, want him on loan. I'm going to say no to that one, really. I've already made sure that it's automatically going to reject it. Although Tunis is still starting, he's still the most capped player for all the league appearances for the club. 20 work rate, he works really hard. He's just not good at much else things, and I think that's the problem for most players, I think, in this team. Mariah starts because, well, he's the best player who can play the false 9 and a deep line forward, so again, not ideal. That being said, we do have Boateng, who could be a false 9, but I want to play him as advanced forward because I think he's got the pace for it and is really good. So Boateng playing up front is important. He's also wanted by Victoria de Guimaraes. I'm not going to sell him, so they can go away. I'm also hoping he doesn't go to AFCON because of Ghana wanting him. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know. Ricardo Perez is on the bench because Pereira's still injured. He's actually almost back, Pereira, so Pereira is going to be back sooner or later. It's just a little awkward to tell him, by the way, you might have lost your first team spot to the 16-year-old goalkeeper. Yeah, I know you don't want to lose your spot, but you have lost it. Bruno Lasca is also on the bench. He's a bit tired. It's the reason he's on the bench, really. Appreciate's also on the bench. 3.5-star player, but apparently only good enough to be a second-tier player now, which I'm a little confused about. I didn't realize we declined so much when we got rid of Ventura, but okay. Apparently we declined so much by sending Ventura that everyone else in the team literally went down from top-tier player to second-tier player. I also think maybe it's because my assistant manager completed his coaching courses and actually saw the players' abilities for what they are. I could be wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong that's the case, but if they're actually not as good as I thought, then that's awkward. Fernando Alvarez is also going to be on the bench because he's kind of becoming that player now. I've given him a new deal. Even if he's only really good enough to be a second-tier player now, he's declined again. I don't know what's happening with players, but I feel like they're declining now, and I don't know how they're declining so quickly. Bonas is on the bench. Now, admittedly, he is slightly tired, but he'll be a good player to bring on from the bench, and I think he's useful. Now, whether or not he'll be amazing right now, I don't know, but I wonder if he's annoyed that I put Andre Denelin in ahead of him when he's probably thinking first team slot's mine. I doubt it. He's probably not that smart in the AI, is he? Oscar Silva on the bench as well. Now, his potential is not amazing, but he's still not terrible, and I think we could use him on that side. So whether or not he'll be a good fit long term remains to be seen, but he is decent, so he can still do stuff for me, so it's not terrible. Rui Quintanilla on the bench is also telling me why I need to have Mariah stay around for long term if we were to lose him, because I don't want to have to rely on Quintanilla again. He's not that good, let's be honest. Now, actually, on the bench, I decided to put Nana Adu Gayamfi as well on the bench. Now, is he amazing? Absolutely not. But long term, could be good. Long term, we're just throwing him right now as a 15-year-old to see if he can do anything. But it's the Allianz Cup. Nobody really cares about it. It's also literally got a rule saying you've got to have 2 players under the age of 21 playing the team. So I think pretty much this is very much a development tournament more than anything else. And I think having this guy on the bench is useful. The same could be said for Nicolao Mirata. I'm probably saying it wrong, but he's also on the bench as well. He's not terrible. He's already a 1.5-star current ability, so I think the remaining defender could be good. Whether or not we'll see that long term remains to be seen, but again, he's not terrible. We're going to use him right now and see what happens either way. Still, that's the lineup. Let's see how we do and hope we can get a win today. We should win, but you never know. Also, that's about players that are not fully fit. That's a little concerning, isn't it, when you think about it? Okay, so they got a goal kick. 5 minutes in, the fact we are going to get the ball comfortably is going to be useful. And long term, we're going to have to see what happens to Denelin. I think it'd be exciting, right? I'm excited for Denelin's first full season in the playing role, since Ventura's always going to leave us. And this will be fun. But Lorea finds Ribeiro, Denelin in already. He's outside, but it's not the best effort, is it? I wouldn't be surprised if we get knocked out in this game. I honestly would not be shocked if we get knocked out right now. I hate if that's the case, but I would not be shocked if we get beaten today by a Cordis side that are not exactly amazing. Mind you, I should probably go positive looking at this, because we're only balanced right now. We've only had one shot that was really an offside thing. That's not a penalty. Don't be stupid. You idiots. Why are you giving the penalty for this? That's a good tackle. What is this? Really, what is this? It's a good pen, but that's not a penalty. For goodness sake. I know the people in this league are idiots, and the referees are not great, but this is ridiculous, even for AI to do that. Terrible decision, 1-0. We've got a free kick, so that's one I seem to talk about, and it's going to be Antunes. Now, he better do something productive here, because I would be disappointed if he doesn't score from here. He does score, 1-0. I told you he could do something. I told him he better do something, so I kind of make my point clear with that one, didn't I? But yeah, 1-0. If he missed this, it's very disappointing because he's really good at the free kicks. 1-0 at half-time. They've had the better shoot because they literally had that one penalty. We've only seen 8 shots in this match. Given that all these players are now from my youth academy, I can honestly say I made all their careers. I can literally say that to these players now. It's terrible to say that out loud, but I literally could pretty much say they're all from my academy. I gave them all their debuts and made their careers. So there you go. I'm going to do the Processinho with Piero. I'm going to do again. And also, it also says if they don't do well now, because I made their careers, I can also pretty much say I can take it away from them. Boateng, Raya, Antunes, Denelin has to do scoring. There we go. 2-1. He was offside the first time in the first half and made a mistake with his effort, but he scored this time. We are in front for the first time. And let's be honest, we should be winning this game comfortably. I think going positive has actually worked in our favor. It feels like we've definitely know what we're doing now. We've gone positive, and maybe that's the key. Just to be more positive and not be balanced. Who knows? We'll get the ball now. Amadou finds Moya, and let's be honest, we should be scoring now. Boateng with Ribeiro, Santos, Denalin, and ball across. Good ball to Amadou. This is a young team that is just going to get better and better now, and we have a good team now. Ribeiro, Santos scores. It's 3. It's over. We should be going through. Let's be honest. It's over now. But yeah, the fact that we are able to have this ball, Santos had all the time in the world to do what he wanted, and it's easy goal. 3-1. Okay, and they've got a corner. It's over the bar. Hello, we're all tired though. Very, very tired. Lueo. Oh, Abdul Goyenfi can do something with this. Maybe play the cross. Finds Aparicio. Finds Bonas. He scores. I think it's first ever goal for us. That's good. But yeah, 4-1. We're good. And it's his first ever goal. Really good to see what we can do that. But yeah, the fact that we have able to do this with some players that are not amazing, it must be said, but Bonas with the finish, scoring his first ever goal. He needs that for his confidence, really, and I'm happy for him. But yes, we come through win 4-1 after going down 1-0 because of the penalty, and honestly, that penalty really skewed the XG looking at this, and we were comfortable throughout afterwards, and yeah, I think going for more positive was the best way to change it, and maybe I should have done that from the beginning, but who knows. We win 4-1 regardless. And we do take on Academico de Fassal in the next round, which means, honestly, this probably is our best chance to get to the third phase in a couple of years now. Ribio's actually picked up an injury. Oh, pulled knee ligaments. That's not good. That's not good for Ribeiro. That's a bit concerning. I didn't think he was injured, but apparently he is. So yeah, disappointing to say that that's the case. But either way, what we're going to do is end this here. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys like and share this video. And it's just got to the channel. Really does help me out. But either way, until next time, goodbye. And well, good night.